I feel so bad. I'm going back to Cali. It's bad. Not bad.
Anyway, welcome to Werewolf Radar.
Are we recording? Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between and above and beyond. Welcome to Werewolf Radar, the podcast about paranormal preparedness, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Balding.
I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroco reverse fishing poles. That's right. It's time to start fishing for birds. Order now and get 10 free hover lures. You can probably still just use worms, I guess. Because birds like worms.
They do.
Go from fly fishing to sky fishing, my man.
From fly fishing to sky fishing with the new Monstroco reverse fishing rod.
Wait a second.
It's time for birds.
If birds like worms and fish like worms, are fish sky birds or fish?
Fish are river birds, yes.
Well,
they have
birds.
those fins are just water wings.
The answer you seek is in the phrase "chicken of the sea," I think.
Well,
And so fish are water
Well,
birds.
using numerology, I can see that Obama was Satan.
You see that in there?
Well,
that
Reagan
a
was also
different-
Satan. It turns out presidents are Satan.
Reagan was also Satan.
Dude, so was
Yeah.
JFK.
So many Satans. Were they all like vying for fiendish powers?
Marilyn
Once every
Monroe's
4
ass
years.
1 year.
You know what would have brought them all together is a nice reverse fishing trip. Instead of going down to the pier to fish for fish, you go for a nice hike, go up somewhere high, bring a Monstroco reverse fishing rod with hover lures, and just cast out for some of those birds up there, those big fat birds. The early bird gets the worm, and the early shopper gets an additional 10 free hover lures. Monstroco reverse fishing poles. Get that early bird. Get that fat fuck. Yum, yum. Breakfast time for us.
Get the early bird before it gets you.
Yeah, exactly. I caught a bird one time on a fishing pole, and it was devastating.
Did you see that person on Twitter whose mom caught a bird?
Did it like glomp it before it could hit the water?
No, there was no. It didn't say it. It was attacking chickens, the mom's chickens, and the mom was said no,
Okay.
no, no, and she went out and caught the fucking hawk, and the hawk was so fucking confused what was happening.
Oh, the mama chicken.
No, the mom. Sorry, this is a human woman
The
who
human
caught
lady,
a hawk.
yeah.
Oh, crazy. Well, what would have made that easier?
The Monstroco reverse fishing.
Some Monstroco
Right.
brand reverse fishing poles by Monstroco. Works with regular worms. Monstroco.
Was that the
what
plot to
fuck?
the movie Lady Hawk?
No, this is a real
you
thing
can
that
believe
happened.
If you can believe it, the plot to the movie Lady Hawk is even fucking crazier than that.
Oh, I know, I've seen it.
I don't know that I
times.
have.
Matthew Broderick in a sword and sorcery movie.
Yeah, she's like a werehawk, right?
Who would ever want that?
I want that. But I'm a Broderick head. I'm a big Broderick
Brody?
stan, a Brody. I know all about his deeds. I've forgiven him.
What do we have on the docket today? I got a thing, if you don't mind.
I'm ready.
Unless
Tell
somebody
us
wants to
about
go
the thing.
first.
Do you have a name for your segment?
Not yet. We'll get there.
Okay.
This is an article about the Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians.
Ooh, is this?
The
I'm
Royal-
sorry.
Fraternity of what?
I'm sorry.
Master Metaphysicians.
Are you about to tell us how to join the Wizards Guild, Nate?
A little bit, yeah.
Great. Fucking hit me. I've been waiting for this owl down my chimney for
Is
a
there a
while
link you can
now.
provide listeners? Put that in the listen along.
I'll see if I can find it later. I have
What's-
this is from a hard copy.
Yeah, I forget.
Maybe-
You just have hard copies of all
Ew.
your knowledge.
Ah, gross. Yeah, no, well, let's hear.
I could-
Maybe
I
they
could,
won't
like-
want to go.
I could probably
Screenshot the
yeah.
chapter.
Maybe
I
they
can
won't
do
want to
that stuff.
go. Maybe it's a horrific place. Eyes on the inside and all that.
That's pretty. So starts out, who wants to live forever? Well, going by the interest in immortality from time immemorial, just about everybody.
Yeah.
There was one man, though, who actually set out to try and achieve it. As the head of a little-remembered American cult of the 1930s, James B. Schaefer took an otherwise ordinary child and through a combination of specialist diet, constant love, and the power of positive thinking, attempted to turn her
God.
into an immortal being.
Whoa, he's making the
Oh.
fucking Quisatana rock.
An artifice for those
Holy
Twilight fans out
shit.
there.
Wow.
It might have begun as a well-intentioned endeavor, but it was to end in legal complications, jail terms, and ultimately suicide.
Fucking I'll say.
What would the price be for immortality? James B. Schaefer's Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians did everything they could to find out.
Costs only your life.
Established sometime in the mid-1920s, the Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians was founded by James Bernard Schaefer, a con man who found his niche in the new self-improvement movement. The organization didn't really
A
prosper.
liar.
Yeah.
A big fat liar from the time.
The organization didn't really prosper until the 1930s when they set up home in Oakdale, Long Island, close to New York.
Okay.
Schaefer had been born in 1896 in Fargo, ND, where he'd apparently qualified as a medical doctor and then moved to New York on a holy mission. So yeah, the whole medical doctor thing is probably also part of the con.
Yeah. You can.
I don't think this is a con.
Interesting. You're buying
I
into
buy it
huh?
hook, line, and sky.
On board
Hook,
from the beginning.
skyline, and sinker.
Hover lure and sinker. You could become a fucking doctor so easy back then.
I mean, I think you could just say that you were, and if no
And-
one was around
yeah.
to dispute it, you were.
Yeah, I
Man,
mean,
if anything, the Trump administration taught us a lot of people can still become doctors.
are you going to
True.
tell a doctor he's not a doctor? I'd like to see you try, Jack.
Yeah, where are your credentials?
He'll bust you down to dogs so fast. He'll say you're
I didn't
not even
pretend to go
human.
to medical school for 7 years for you.
You know what? Make it
Do not
8.
call me.
Now I'm mad. It
So
seems
this
like
guy,
you could just like know where the knees were, and they'd be like, "Ooh, you're a doctor."
he started doing these stirring speeches about the spiritual potential contained within the material world.
Cool.
This is between the two world wars, and people were searching for meaning. And
Dude, that
Schaefer
was a
more than
crazy
ready.
time in between the
Crazy
two world
time.
wars. You have a lot of occult shit just popping up.
Roger was there.
The-
No,
I was there. I
20s
was
and the
partying.
30s.
I was a flapper girl.
Yeah.
I
Who
look
wants to
better
live
then than I
forever?
do now.
Hey, you still got it, baby.
Anyway, the everyone being sort of out of it and not knowing what to do with their lives, probably especially after the 1920s and everything was cool and then everything crashed. We're looking for some sort of psychic assuagement. And
Sure.
they were happy to join Schaefer's new fraternity of
What do you
master
got?
metaphysicians.
Hit me with it. Yeah.
Every Sunday morning, he gathered huge crowds at New York's Carnegie Hall, where he sought to persuade his audience that everything material could be affected by the power of the human mind. For Schaefer, anyone could imagine, from good health to $1 million, could be made real through the power of thought alone. As long as the supplicant was willing to master secret techniques, only he could teach them. So this is just the secret for 1930s.
Wizards Guild. Yeah.
It's the exact same con.
Yeah. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. But it works, Nate. It works. You have to come to wine country with me.
It does work. It does work. Jordan's the evidence.
Look at me. This jacket. I wasn't wearing this when I sat down. I've willed it into being.
He did at his height. It's estimated he would have up to 10,000 dedicated followers. So, and each of them was paying up because anyone could join the fraternity as long as you paid the $250 fee, which is about $4,000 in today's money.
Fuck, it's like
Oh,
SAG.
Jesus.
Yeah,
10,000. So this isn't like large, but it's what, 4 million or so. That's a nice chunk of change.
It's a good amount of money.
Good enough.
The cash donation was labeled a love offering to be freely given by the faithful. Younger members could join the Cosmic Network by making donations in stamps.
Fuck.
Listen, I got a lot of mail to send out too. If you don't got a buck, give me a stamp.
Now they're coming for the kids.
This is also fun. In return for their hard-earned cash, those who joined were issued fellowship certificates in the name of Inexhaustible Bank of the Infinite Universal Mind, but these could only be cashed in for ideas and everything desired with no limitations, rather than your money back.
Wow.
Metaphysician bucks, huh?
Seriously.
Yep.
Genius.
Bizcoin.
Okay.
Through this and other methods, Schaefer was able to raise a fortune from his rich followers, which he used to buy the 110-room former Vanderbilt mansion on Long Island, which was previously the home of philanthropist and horse breeder William K. Vanderbilt, who made his money developing railroads. He renamed the property Peace Haven and moved between 50 and 100 of his key followers, many of them unmarried middle-aged women described as half-souls under metaphysical philosophy, and they required completion.
Fucking what? Hachi machi.
A core group of male acolytes who also lived there were known as the Storks. And they would have a special role to play in the great work that was to come. Other members who wished to visit the Metaphysicians mansion could do so as long for $100. You could stay there, which is about $1,800 today.
That's more than most of this is more than I have in today's money.
Yeah. It's this insane that this is the mid 30s. Like, stock market's in trouble. I don't know how anyone has anything during the Depression era.
Listen, I know we lost everything, Arnold, but I've squirreled away.
Think about it.
A little money to stay at the wizard's house. So, are you coming or aren't you?
I mean,
are you coming or am I going to be a half soul?
Yes, he's probably going to have sex with me. Are you coming or not?
And this is It's a Wonderful Life that I wish they made.
Amen.
The local Long Island community regarded the newcomers as little more than a group of unthreatening eccentrics. They were happy to see people taking care of the 800-acre property, which is insane. They were all vegetarians. They did not drink coffee or eat or tea. There was no
bunch of narcs,
no boozing, no drugging.
Come on, Laudanum's so good.
It was sort of a health commune.
Listen, if that's your idea of a good time, then you're in the wrong place, Buster.
Man,
we're good, wholesome wizards here. We've got a Codamundi if you'd like to see it, but that's it as far as entertainment goes.
There's all sorts of people who ran health cults at this time. Kellogg's was one of them as well.
Kellogg was a fucking maniac.
Complete maniac.
Made a good cereal, though.
The man could flake a corn, couldn't he?
Could. The people became known as truth students. They were adepts to the master metaphysician. You just pay your way up. It's the same thing as Scientology or any of the other wackadoo. We know how we can tell you how to live your life. Things.
Christianity being among
there's a lot of Christian Science and Rosicrucianism in there.
Well, you'd like to think you'd spot it, huh? You'd like to think you'd spot it when they're like, okay, now listen, you're a truth student, okay? And you'd be like, wait,
that doesn't sound right.
This is a cult, right? It's a cult. Yeah.
Here's a fun quote that he gave to a newspaper. I'll try to do my best. 1930s. Our organization's unorganized. You can't define a thing like that. People think we're a lot of nuts.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
For almost a year, everything was.
Hey, who's sneaking up behind me? I'll pull a gun on you. Where were we? Cocaine?
Watch me eat this shoe. It's health food. For almost a year, everything was quiet around the peace haven of the Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians in Long Island. Then in November 1938, the cult unexpectedly announced to the world that they intended to raise an immortal.
Yes, this is what we're here for.
It was Schaefer's contention that given the right conditions, through the power of the mind alone, a human being could effectively live forever. Wow. It was an ambitious plan, and it required the one thing Schaefer himself didn't then have, a baby.
He's filling a void. That's so admirable and creepy right now.
And for the life of me, I can't figure out how you make one. I've been in the kitchen for days.
The recipe says, get a male and a female. But what does that mean?
What does it mean?
to the brain room, my storks. We must think about this as men alone.
Get a jar of bees. Grab some birds as well.
Get the shoe. We'll figure this out. Get the birds and the bees and a hammer.
Schaefer targeted new parents who were finding the raising of their child difficult, largely for economic reasons. He settled upon New York waitress Catherine Gaunt, whose 5-month-old, red-haired, blue-eyed child, baby Jean, suited Schaefer's mystical needs.
Man, I forgot there was a time recently in America you could just buy a child.
And his name would be Gene. You have a dad name like that. This is Bruce, a boy.
This is my 3-year-old boy named Bruce.
This is my 3-year-old boy, John.
No, that's your 3-year-old man, sir.
Hey, Dad, I'll be in the parking lot getting a job.
The parents agreed they were not then best suited to raise their child and saw Schaefer's organization as offering her a brighter future. The Master Metaphysician organization informally adopted baby Jean, meaning they simply took on all responsibility for the child. It is unclear, Roger, that any money changed hands in the transaction. See, they just gave the baby away.
Oh, God. Is that better or worse? Is it, though? Or is it like a... Here, you can give him you'll give him my better life, you know, you ever had. That's my early American accent, apparently.
Capitalism is a hell.
Yeah.
Hell of a drug.
I've got 32 children and they all hate me.
Schaefer was putting his beliefs into practice in the most spectacular way. The child would be raised to live forever simply because Schaefer and his followers believed it was possible. Oh. Their ultimate aim was for her to become their leader, presiding over the organization forever. She would have a strict vegetarian eternity diet and would be surrounded only by positive thoughts. Shielded from the evils of the world and given the kind of communal cult upbringing her mother could never have imagined, baby Jean would be the forerunner of a new kind of perfect human, one who would in the future, it was hoped, offer solutions to the problems facing mankind. Wow. Schaefer claimed ignorance is death, education is life. He argued that Jean would be taught to comprehend the forces of evil abroad in the world and the way they worked on humanity. She would be raised to be on constant guard against them. As in Schaefer's understanding, death and disease were the result of destructive thinking. Jean would be coached to avoid such mental traps.
What? Wow. What if it had worked?
If they raised a Adam Warlock style superhero?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we would have more affinity stones than we did before.
That's very true.
Sure. They're trying to make the Kwisatz Haderach is what they're doing.
It is exactly what it sounds like. Wait a second. Was Frank Hubert a metaphysician?
I mean, kind of,
Maybe
I guess.
Frank Herbert.
Oh, damn it. I thought it was Hubert.
Okay, never mind. Carry on. Never mind. Different guy.
Yeah, my bad. I'm talking about a different author.
You're thinking about Frank Hubert, Master Metaphysician.
Master Metaphysician, yes. Who famously was.
Yeah. Little Jean was secluded in a private nursery within the Peace Haven property, and her every need was catered for by a private nurse whose sole obligation was the celebrity baby. The nurse, named Louise Kerfs, was on call 24 hours a day and had been briefed to only entertain positive thoughts whenever she was around the child. Those cult members resident at the former Vanderbilt property were instructed to keep an eye on Nurse Kerfs to ensure she never slipped into negative thoughts while around their precious immortal.
I mean,
baby, yeah.
That's insane.
Wow.
I know You've got the living panopticon trying to read your every thought.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
There's a quote from Schaefer: "A baby has an empty brain. We'll keep impressing on it the beauty of life and the side of life that we are trying to live. If a child doesn't think anything that is bad or destructive, it can't be torn down. I can think of no child outside of royalty who might have had a better start in life." He concluded this quote by saying, "The last enemy to be overcome is death."
Nice.
Crazy.
The baby was treated like royalty and showered with gifts from Schaefer and his inner circle, the cult acolytes and curious visitors, many of whom paid handsomely for an audience with the tiny tot. Many of the gifts offered were not particularly suitable for a child not yet 1 year old, but items such as diamond rings and pearl necklaces were gratefully received by Schaefer, who would, of course, exchange them for ready cash.
Of course. So he basically operated as a pawn shop.
Yeah. Yeah. When not operating as a fucking outright Dickensian crook.
There was a report in the Milwaukee Journal in July of 1940 with the headline, "First Year of Immortality Shows Baby Gene is Normal."
Of course.
Which also means, like, so they're in Long Island. This is a journalist from Milwaukee. This thing was known across the nation.
Sure.
Which was interesting. Like, because I was reading this, I was like, I've never heard about this. Why would I know anything about it? It's got to be some weird Long Island thing. But no, at the time, this was national news.
Sure.
The Immortal Baby being raised in New York.
Immortal Baby.
It's just something that's happening, like how Hitler's gaining consolidating a lot of power in Germany.
Sure.
They're also raising this Immortal Baby.
Yeah, turn the page. Hey, did you hear about this Immortal Baby? They named it Gene. A nice normal baby name.
Not an adult name that only
not an adult's
have.
name.
They celebrated the first birthday of the baby. It was an extravagant party. It was a 2-day affair with 200 visitors that crowded the 100-room mansion with scores of presents, all of which were, of course, just taken and turned into cash, put in Schaefer's bank account.
Natch.
Eventually, the mother, like shortly after this, wanted the baby back. They had never actually adopted the baby, so there was no legal standing for this guy to do anything but give it back. It ended up being settled out of court, at which point he also lost all of his money and all of his followers.
Sure.
As the con fell apart.
Well, it happens. You can only keep having sex with everyone's wife for so long before the husbands find out, you know?
You're going to leave something down there, your keys or something.
Apparently he wasn't having sex with the ladies.
Well, what's the point of having a cult?
I don't understand. If you're not summoning the devil or having sex with everyone's wife, what's the point of this?
Well, he had his wife and they were having sex. And the storks, I think, were having sex with the half souls.
Okay, well, all right.
This Immortal Baby better become evil.
Well, the Immortal Baby ends up going back to live like a normal baby girl in the hands of a 1940s ma.
So the cops
and a pa who is going to fight the Krauts, probably.
Sure. And who had enough of Jerry and his antics.
Schaefer did say that it was up to the parents now to keep giving her the immortality diet. And it would remain to be seen if the baby ever.
Now remember, she can only eat love and wishes.
Which is a very, very strict diet. She will have diarrhea, and that's your problem now.
I have to go. I'm working on a different insane world domination plan.
The quote that Schaefer gave to the press was, "Whether Jean goes on being immortal is for her parents to decide."
Young lady, you age right now. In this house, we age.
The parents of the baby did sue him for all of the gifts that the baby had received that he took, including a $50,000 diamond necklace or something like that, or diamond ring, I forget, one of the two, but it's worth approximately $1 million today.
Nice.
Anyway, he ends up going to jail for 5 years. He is weeping visibly as he's sentenced. He gets out. He tries to scam people a bunch of times with other, essentially all the things that Donald Trump did in the 80s. He tries to do and fails. It's not steak, but there's like you can, a lot of the Donald Trump University things you can, it's a college that you can attend via mail.
Nice. Clever.
And learn about, you can become part of the order of the Metaphysicians.
Yeah. You know what it makes me think of? Did you ever see Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Yes.
Favorite in this household. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, one of the characters is like a full-on correspondence college shyster. And he's a wizard. He claims he's like the owner of the Correspondence College of Wizardry and Witchcraft. And he's just lying.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what this guy was doing. I'll teach you how to teach you how to teleport as long as you don't touch boobs.
Whatever happened to Jean? Does it say? Is she still out there? She'd be 80 or
still is the last thing
alive.
The last thing they mentioned is she was around in 2002.
Wow.
Still living, married with children of her own. And consistently refuses to discuss her past life as the immortal baby Jean of master metaphysician fame.
Why would you not want to talk about that? That is the most interesting thing about anyone.
Do you know how there's only one person who was an immortal baby in this whole world, right? You have to talk about it.
You have to talk about
it. Schaefer and his wife ended up killing themselves in 1955. They were found in their car with a vacuum hose running from the exhaust into the window.
Oh, the old
Willie Loman.
The old Willie Loman. The old Loman special. Yikes. Wow. Well,
there's a pretty fun there's a picture of a clipping from a newspaper article after the baby's returned, and the headline is "Just an Ordinary Mortal Again."
Bummer.
Which is what I'm going to name this segment.
Just an ordinary mortal.
Ordinary mortals.
Yeah. Ordinary mortals. Nate's mortals. Wow, incredible segment, Nate. I feel like we could talk about this for a long time, but do you mind if